Hey everybody, Dr. G here. I'm a clinical and forensic psychologist as well as a body language expert, and today we're going to be analyzing the behavior and body language of Erika Kirk. Before we get started with this, couple of quick things. One, I wanted to make sure you know this is not a psychological evaluation of any kind. These are just my opinions. In addition to that, I do want to remind you to like and subscribe if you want to see more content just like this. All right, let's go. What we're going to be analyzing today is Erika Kirk on the Charlie Kirk Show. I have had so many people requesting me to analyze Erika Kirk. I wasn't really comfortable analyzing her after the shooting or at the memorial, but this is her on a podcast, and it gives us some really interesting information about her body language. Now, most of what people have been requesting is wanting to know whether or not she's authentic, whether or not she's real, or whether or not she's faking her emotions, and that's really what we're going to look at today. All right, let's just jump right in.
We really tried to discern properly how to go about the next few stages and steps of everything. And we've been very intentional in a way that always keeps Charlie first. And
now you'll see right after she says keeps Charlie first, you see blinking right afterward, there is stress bringing up Charlie's name. Because obviously there, and we're going to talk about this, obviously there's a tremendous amount of trauma that has to come with what's happened so far. But even right afterwards, her body is unconsciously trying to feel calm again after mentioning that. But then something interesting happens following this.
in a way that always keeps Charlie first and his dreams.
Now you see this smile right here. This is what we call a douching smile. This is very much a real smile. The way that the eyes wrinkle, the way that the corners of the mouth go up, that all matches what would be a legitimate smile. So when people are saying, is she acting? Not right here she isn't. That seems to be actual. She actually feels good right there.
A way that always keeps Charlie first and his dreams alive and his legacy.
And then afterwards she says keeps his dreams alive. When she raised her eyebrows, she wants you to understand she is planning on keeping his dreams alive. That's something she's actually feeling as she's talking about it. Because when we raise our eyebrows, it brings attention to our face, and that's what she's focused on. You have to think so much of this is unconscious. So it's not like if she's trying to perform in some way that she could fake all of these things. What she's saying right now really does seem to be tied into how she's feeling.
First, and his dreams alive and his legacy going. And what's so beautiful is to see all of you step in and do that. And so part of the reason why I agreed to come on, because this is not going to be a forever thing of me being on hosting the show, was because I gave assurance to people that Turning Point USA is continuing, and it is. I mean, we are so
Now, I've had a number of people ask about why she has a tendency to look up. Watch, this is what I'm talking about right here.
Turning Point USA is continuing.
Now, looking up like this does not appear to be involuntary. In other words, this seems to be something that she's actually doing. Many of the behaviors we do are automatic. When we look around when we're thinking, or if we look down, we tend to not realize we're doing that. As she's doing this very much looks intentional. And so I assume that when she's doing that, this is her way of signaling she's connecting with Charlie. That's certainly what it appears to be at this point. So, like I said, this is not so much an involuntary behavior.
Assurance to people that Turning Point USA is continuing, and it is. I mean, we are.
See, so when she says Turning Point USA is continuing, she raises her eyebrows, looks up. I do think that is her intent to talk to or connect with Charlie. At least that would be the way that it seems to me.
The show, when we talked about this, became very intimate for me because I was there from the beginning of all of it, and I'll never forget.
Once again, you're seeing real happiness here. She does seem to be able to really connect with some feeling of peace right now as she's talking about these things. These do not appear to be fake smiles. I've seen a lot of fake smiles, lots of fake tears. There's a lot of fakery that I analyze in trials and so forth. This doesn't seem to be fake. As much as people go, is she acting? This doesn't seem like it. In terms of the body language itself, it all seems to be very legit.
I was there from the beginning of all of it, and I'll never forget 2020 when literally the world.
We close our eyes when we think about things that we don't like. So as she's talking about 2020, a lot of people did not have the best year in 2020. And it seems like as she's talking about it, you see her actually connecting with that.
2020 when literally the world stood still, and Charlie and I would go hiking every morning. And
see, raising her eyebrows when she's saying every morning. That's what she wants you to focus on. She's talking about relationships. She wants people to understand her relationship. So watching somebody's eyebrows can give you so much insight into when they're feeling something really strongly.
Still. And Charlie and I would go hiking every morning. And we would just talk about what life, the crazy things going on, and every single day. He read every email.
Yeah.
I know you guys have said that so many times, but I can vouch for that because there were times where he would forward me some of the emails that he would get.
So you can hear how the way that she's saying this, she's picking up her rate of speech. She can be slow and deliberate when she wants to get a point across. She's feeling excited about this. She really does mean what she's saying right here. So I think there's some genuine, deep authenticity as she's talking about the fact that Charlie Kirk actually read every email, that he was really into it. She seems genuinely excited right here.
Not going anywhere. My husband's voice will live on. The show will go on. We will have rotating hosts, rotating casts, rotating people coming
We've got
on.
some great people next week. already lined up.
Unbelievable. We will have consistency. The members only group will continue to go on. All of his socials that God has blessed us with.
So you can see at times she squints a little bit, and we do this at times when we're getting intense. I think that the idea the show must go on, this is very important to her. I think that she really means this because there is an intensity about this when she speaks about it.
People coming
We've got
on.
some great people next week. already lined up.
Unbelievable. We will have consistency. The members only group will
And you see she looks at the camera when she's talking about this. Watch this right here.
unbelievable. We will have consistency. The members.
So we will have consistency. She really wants people to understand this. And that's what's interesting and what's different about when she's talking about this relative to some of what she's talked about before. So we're seeing a difference in body language here and what we saw at the beginning. At the beginning, she was connecting with the other people in the room, sharing stories, talking about Charlie, feeling good. Now she's talking about continuing the legacy of Turning Point USA and the Charlie Kirk Show. There is an intensity here. I think this is something she feels very strongly about. And so you're not seeing the smiles and the warmth in the same way at this point. And that's not being critical. I think that's just a difference in how intense she is and how serious she is about what it is that she's doing.
All of his socials that God has blessed us with, the people who follow those socials will go on. Nothing is changing. But I want to preface, we're not awkward. We're not like weird.
So you can see the way that she has her hand up right here. This is actually very meaningful because if you tell somebody to put their hands up, they'll put their hands up in that exact position. Usually it's both of them because they want people to know, hey, I'm not doing anything here. And the message she's trying to get across is things are going to stay the same. Things are going to continue to be good. If you liked Turning Point USA or the Charlie Kirk Show before, you're going to continue to like it. And I think that message is really important to her right now. You see her looking at the audience and focused on the audience when she's talking about this. So this is very different than the body language you're seeing when she's talking about or to Charlie.
Not like weird.
Cringy.
We're not cringe. We're not going to be tweeting as if it's him. That's tone deaf and really disturbing.
See, tone deaf and really disturbing. You see the eyes close again. She doesn't like thinking about that because that's awkward. It's strange. She wants to make sure people know they're not going to do anything weird as they continue forward.
And anyone who does that's like morbidly off.
Yeah.
That's not what's happening. What's happening is the team is keeping this alive because we have Charlie in each and every one of us.
Yes.
And it is going to be continually the North Star of the conservative movement, of the voice of the youth, of the voice of the base, and that will not end.
So you notice when she said youth, her eyebrows raised, base eyebrows raised. These are the people that are really important to her. This is something that she really wants people to know she's connected with, and she feels that. That's what I mean by whether or not she's acting or authentic. When she talks about connecting with youth, you're seeing the eyebrows go up. With politicians, for example, it looks very different. We see politicians talk about these kinds of things all the time, and their timing tends to be off. They know a lot of the body language. They're taught enough of the body language where they know how to orate and how to speak. It's very hard to fake this. So as many people go, I don't get her behavior, like it seems like it's acting. The parts that matter, all of that seems to actually be quite authentic.
Interviews that no one's heard of. We have stuff from Korea and Japan that no one's heard of.
Podcasts.
So, I mean, in the words of my husband, buckle up because there is a lot of content to be had. And we have so many amazing things down the pipeline that we are working on currently that will
unveil in due time.
I am so excited.
So I've seen a number of people critical of the fact that she is smiling right now, that 2 weeks after Charlie Kirk's assassination, that she seems to be able to smile, that she's able to connect with some degree of happiness or joy. But understanding how people deal with loss is an incredibly complex thing. You got to also think about the degree of trauma that you would experience with what she's been through for the past couple of weeks. Part of what the human mind does is it does help us compartmentalize. Just because she experiences happiness here doesn't mean that she doesn't also continue to feel sorrow elsewhere. And so part of what we have to be able to do when we are healthy actually is to be able to at times compartmentalize. At times, maybe even the brain's going to numb you out a little bit. And we're going to have moments where we feel good, we feel inspired, we feel connected. So the idea that she is experiencing happiness right now or having a podcast where she is able to smile, I actually don't think is strange, despite the fact that some people seem to be bothered by it.
We're working on currently that will
unveil in due time.
I am so excited.
Yeah.
And so,
and by the way, those are things Charlie himself
that he wanted.
We were working on some big things.
All right, we'll go ahead and wrap things up here. Hopefully this is helping you better understand some of the behavior and body language that we saw. I know a number of people have been curious as to whether or not Erika Kirk appears to be acting, whether or not she's putting on a performance. Based on what we saw today, most of the emotion that she expressed seemed authentic. I think anytime somebody's on a podcast, there's a certain degree of performance because that's just part of the way that we speak when we're interacting with other people and it's being recorded. But as far as the emotion all seemed to be quite real. And to address some of the criticism I've seen about her smiling and some of her demeanor on this, people saying that it's peculiar or it's strange, I actually don't think that it is. I think that everybody deals with trauma and loss in different ways. And just because somebody isn't sad constantly every second of the day after a loss for months at a time doesn't mean that they aren't functioning normally. But if you have any thoughts about this or if there's anything else you want me to analyze, please let me know in the comments below. Last thing before we get finished up is I do want to remind you to like and subscribe if you want to see more content just like this. All right, thanks for watching.